In this News 18 exclusive, since 2019, the NIA has registered 26 cases of counterfeit currency, and most of them with a Pakistan connection. The cumulative face value of currency seized is more than 20 crore rupees, with around 60 to 70% of these notes in the denomination of 2,000 rupees. This is a CNN-News18 exclusive, with the NIA busting a multi-crore racket of near-perfect notes. The fact that they are printed in Pakistan, making their way into India via Nepal, with a direct connection to the ISI and the D company. This is what we have unearthed in our CNN News 18 exclusive investigation. Yesha Kota getting us these details. Have a look at our story.
Approximately 7 years after demonetisation, counterfeit currency of higher denomination is making its way back to India. In the last several weeks, National Investigative Agency has registered several cases from Gujarat, Maharashtra and other states pertaining to fake currency. As a part of NIA investigation, it has been found out that the flow of counterfeit currency in India is being sent through Pakistan. Agency sources have stated that the kingpin of this modus operandi is a person called Uncle, who is believed to be the close aide of Dawood Ibrahim.
The case links have been established with the company. It has been established that the printing of these currencies was taking place at Pakistan, following which ISI and the company had an established route through which this currency was being sent to India.
Uncle's official communications with the accused from Naupada case has been established. Their communication is usually through WhatsApp calls from an international number. In this case, it has been found that WhatsApp number used was from Malaysia. As per investigation by NIA, an established route being used by the perpetrators is through Nepal and Pakistan, from where these high-quality currency notes are sent to India. These notes are printed in Pakistan, and most of the features of Indian currency are adapted in these notes, making it difficult to differentiate. NIA sources say the only reason they aren't a legal tender is because they have been printed in Pakistan. Sources have confirmed the role of the ISI and D gang in the organized crime. The modus operandi adopted by them is to send high-denomination currency in bulk and ensure they are circulated in the market in a single piece. Once these notes are smuggled into India, the handlers in India are informed about the future plan.
Over the last 4 years, NIA has registered approximately 26 cases when it comes to fake currencies. The valuation of these notes seized by NIA is more than rupees 20 crores. More recently, from Mumbai, the case of Naupada police station, which is in Thane, has come to forth. In fact, NIA has taken cognizance of this case, and 2 people who are related to this case have been arrested.
There were many operatives in Pakistan, again backed by the ISI predominantly. One of them was the D gang. And in the case in Naupada, where NIA has now conducted raids, the role of D company has been very clearly established.
500 and 1000 rupee notes were counterfeited the most before demonetisation kicked in. Now it's with 2000 rupee notes. But with agencies working round the clock, such dirty designs from across the borders will be thwarted each time.
Yesha Kotak now joins us live. Yesha, so the NIA unearthing a big racket with the 2000 rupee note. But is there a similar concern with the 500 rupee note? And how are they able to print these notes near perfect in Pakistan?
So when it comes to these notes, be it the 500 or 2000 rupee notes. So here, mostly the notes which are printed out of higher denomination, a lot of these rackets which are busted by agencies, be it NIA or even the state agencies, includes these higher value notes, which also means 500. But here, in case, as of now, the focus that we see for NIA, especially with this whole D gang and ISI racket, has been with the 2000 note. Now, when you speak of how are these notes printed to near perfection, because when we spoke to NIA sources, it was clearly mentioned that the only difference in the notes which are printed in India and Pakistan is that because they are printed in Pakistan is where they are not legal tender. So they are exactly a replica of the 2000 rupee notes that we get in India. That is because when you speak of these 2000 notes, right from the material, that is the paper to printing, the printing ink, it's actually provided from India. It is sent to Pakistan is what our sources had told us, which is where we'd seen that even a few years back was where during demonetization this particular habit was curtailed. Yes.
Let me ask you, Yesha, how is it making its way in India? And what does the NIA believe? How many such fake notes are actually in circulation?
So when you speak of how many such cases that NIA has busted, there have been 26 ever since 2019 onwards. Before that, in 2018, there were 38 cases. NIA has started looking at these cases only from 2018 onwards. Before that was various state agencies and other agencies who were looking at it. So far, NIA has gotten, since 2019 onwards, actually a cumulative figure is of more than 20 crore. There have been more than 20 crore was what NIA has seized. Now you speak of the route, because it's been clearly established that these notes are being printed in Pakistan. They are being in fact supplied by ISI and the D gang to India. We understand that the route that's being operated is from Pakistan to Bangladesh and Nepal, and from where it's making its way to India. So there's an established route that has been identified by the agencies. Also, when it comes to this Naupada case that we're talking about, particularly from Thane, it was in fact found out that these people who were arrested were getting a call on WhatsApp, but the number was traced to Malaysia. So the calls and people who are operating this are based out of Singapore and Malaysia, but the route is Pakistan, because Pakistan is where these notes are printed, and then through Nepal and Bangladesh borders is where it's infiltrated into India. Yes.
Now this person, Uncle, there is somebody who's called Uncle or nicknamed Uncle very close to Daud. Is it the same person?
Yes. So the person, like we've rightly spoken about, there was a call that was being made from Singapore and Malaysia. This call was being made by a person, Uncle. He is known to be one of the main members of the D company. Uncle was making calls to people, giving instructions to them while he was making these calls from Singapore or Malaysia. Now, let us understand that these calls are being made through Singapore and Malaysia number, but agency is still trying to find out if the person is based there, or these calls are routed through the Singapore and Malaysia number in order to ensure that the agencies do not get leads to the person who's making this call. This person, Uncle, has been in fact the key player, and he has been on the radar of agencies. Even while we spoke to agencies, they were saying that this is a part of the investigation to understand who this Uncle is and what is his relation to the gang. But of course, sources have confirmed that he is quite close to the gang. Uncle is the one who's operating this entire racket. And the agency have confirmed that not only Maharashtra and Gujarat, but there have been various such states where infiltration of these notes are taking place.
My final question, Yesha, to the common person, if such notes are in circulation, how do they make out? How do they discern if they are near perfect? And is there an estimation, 20 crores per till date has been seized, value worth or worth 20 crore? How much is actually in circulation or already out there in the market? Has the NIA shared any estimate there?
So as of now, while we spoke to various agencies, not only NIA but also Maharashtra ATS who was looking into this case, there's been no estimate that they can really mention about at this stage, because it's a huge market.
Okay.
It is only on the basis of the seizures that are being made by them is where these estimates come forth. And like you've said, how does a common man understand? So when such seizures are made, there is a list of 18 to 20 criteria that the Reserve Bank has shared with these agencies. For a common man, it's very difficult to get access and understand the difference unless and until it goes to a bank or it goes to the police or any kind of an agency. When it reaches them is where, on the basis of these 18 criteria, the notes are sent back to RBI, and then it's understood whether these are real notes or counterfeit notes. On the basis of counterfeit notes, right from the paper to the tar also that is there inside the note, and apart from that the color. These are some of the basic distinguishing criteria between a fake and a real note. Yes.
Yesha, great job done. Thank you very much. Let's go across to our panel now and take this story forward. Dr. Aruna Sharma, former member of the RBI Digitization Committee, is with us. Yashwardhan Azad, former IPS officer, with us, and Sushant Sareen, senior fellow, ORF. Namaste and Jai Hind. My first question, and that stumps me, Aruna ji, is that this 2000 rupee note was supposedly supposed to be very, very difficult to reprint or copy because of the dye, because of the intrinsic the complexity of the design, the number of elements, so many other aspects, even the paper.
What you say is absolutely right. That was the claim that was made when 2000 rupee note was designed and printed. But I will just like to give some numbers that 54% of the fake notes increase has happened on 2000 rupees note, and 120% increase has happened in the fake notes for 500 rupees note. So it looks like that somebody is able to break this dice to make it look as similar as possible, because detection is happening. The moment it goes to the hands of the experts, whether it is bank or the RBI, so the moment the fake note is detected in this transaction, the counterfeit currency report is admitting it. And what is of concern is during demonetization, the increase of counterfeit notes increased by 480% because transaction took place. People deposited the money. Nearly 15.31 lakh came. So answer to this, I will say, lies in going for CBDT for wholesale. Don't print notes. Go for small denomination notes and go for digital payments. Now, unfortunately, today even 36 lakh crores of cash is floating in the market. So what you have rightly said, even though the claim was that it will be very difficult to counterfeit, the chor police ke aage nikal raha hai. And they are able to do it, and nearly 200,000 pieces of counterfeit notes of different denominations have been detected. So it's not a small number and can disturb the economy. It can be like an attack on the economy if you look at it from that point of view. So therefore, at least I will say that more and more incentivizing of digital payment has to be done, and cash has to be disincentivized.
Well, I understand, but that means that those who want to counterfeit also have access to printers or printing presses which can print these kind of notes. They are complex presses. They also have the nature, they got the exact detailing of the paper which is being used, along with the die combinations. This has to go from India only there, or can they just look at the note and decipher it?
No, they can decipher. There is definitely some connivance at some level, no doubt about it. I'm very sure, and the investigating agencies are better equipped. Financial Intelligence Unit is also working on it, where they have detected nearly 3 lakh instances from 2016-17. They did it when demonetization happened, and constantly they are doing, and I told you 200,000 plus such pieces are there in the market. So these intelligence agencies will have to be on their toes, and NCRB data has to constantly come out with it so that the common public is aware about it.
चाहे कुछ भी कर लीजिए, यशोवर्धन आजाद जी ये नोट छाप के रहेंगे, इन द सेंस फर्जीवाड़ा करके रहेंगे, बट द पॉइंट इज हाउ डू वी कैच इट, एंड इट्स अगेन कमिंग फ्रॉम दैट कंट्री व्हिच वांट्स टू डिस्टेबलाइज us.
Well, there are a few worrying signs. One is, of course, as you talked just now. You see, earlier on, that we used to find about 10 years back, the distinguishing features could easily be, found out. But now we have seen in the last 3-4 years, they are becoming more and more sophisticated. And as you said, maybe they've got better printing presses, they've got better dyes and better other facilities. Secondly, the point about the gang getting involved in the DS, when you refer to Uncle, I don't know whether it's the same guy, Javed Chikna, who's also involved in the Mumbai thing, and his associate Yunus, if I remember correctly, a few years back was also caught in Kathmandu airport, I think, with 7 crores of fake currency. We have another case where we have these, Riaz and these people who were caught in Bombay and they are still in jail. So yes, the connection is easily established, and what it proves is that the ISI is back to its own game. Yes, I believe with the security architecture of ours getting stronger and stronger, I think these are the ways they're going to do it. If you see the vulnerable areas which the intelligence agencies and the security agencies have to see is also right in the northeast, Pakur district in Jharkhand, for example, Murshidabad area and West Bengal. In fact, the West Bengal border is vulnerable. And if you recall, a consignment had gone from Lanka all the way to Chittagong, which they call Chattogram. And from there, it had gone to Dhaka, where 7 crore seizures were made by the Bangladesh police. So yes, now there are a few areas where they fly out with the or whatever ship, whether it goes to Dhaka, whether it goes via Lanka or it goes to Nepal, and the whole process starts again. And as rightly said by the earlier speaker, the exact estimate is not really known. The attempts are always being made. So yes, we have to be alert, especially now that the legal tender, 2,000 rupees, which is after 30th September, it will remain a legal tender, but it will be, it will stop circulating. In that respect, all that which has been, duplicated, that would like to be flooded in the market, and I think for that the security agencies should be really careful.
True, but Sushant Sareen, so do we stop printing notes, or as Dr. Aruna said, don't print anything more than 100 rupees? Is that the only solution?
So,
200 rupees.
So, Anand, look, as far as I'm concerned, number one, counterfeiting is a fact of life. It's happening all over the world, in smaller quantities, in other cases in bigger quantities. The problem in India is that it's not simply a criminal activity. It's part of a proxy war. And I think we need to be clear on that. In India's case, it's not a criminal syndicate which is involved. It is a hostile state which is involved and which is propelling this thing forward. Now, I would imagine that the scale of the problem at this point in time is much, much, much lower than what it was when we went in for demonetization in 2016. But to think that the hostile elements would not have caught up and would not start, and it becomes even more profitable if you have to counterfeit a 2,000 rupee note. So I think what Arunaji is saying makes a lot of sense. Because if you have to counterfeit a 100 rupee note, it's just so much more tedious, simply because moving large quantities of that currency becomes that much more difficult. It is also makes sense to have your highest denomination as a 100 or 200 rupee note, because even in terms of terror finance, or in terms of if you're curbing black money, if you have to pay somebody a bribe of 5 crores of rupees, you probably have to carry a truck of money with you, which makes the chances of detection so much more easier. So it makes more sense for India, especially with digitization taking off the way it has, to go in for smaller denomination notes, maximum 200 rupees. I would imagine that even 500 rupees should go, but I think saying that on television right now when people are already struggling to get rid of 2,000 rupee notes is going to send panic bells. But I think, over a period of time, over a couple of years, maybe they can siphon off the 500 rupee notes completely and go in for smaller denominations. So it makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, I think there might also be a case, Anand, to go in for a much more advanced currency notes of the kinds which are there in Canada or Australia. That plastic currency, which becomes even more difficult to duplicate than the kind of currency notes we have. Look, there are 4 of us on your show. Please tell me how many of us, when we get a note, we actually examine a note to see whether it's real or fake, or all those 15, 20 criteria, which are, nobody can do it. If you ask me, I find it difficult to see something close anyways. So I say, I'm going to just pass it on to whoever I can pass it on to. So nobody really has the time of the day to actually examine a currency note. So you have to do something about that. But I think if the problem is limited, it's at a very small scale, it's fine. But the flip side of that is, even 20 crores, if it is being used for terror finance, is hell of a lot of money. It's hell. You can ask Mr. Azad. In most terror cases, if you look at the amounts of monies involved, they're not huge amounts of money.
Correct.
It's a couple of lakhs, maybe a crore maximum. So if you have 20 crores of money coming through a counterfeit currency, it's not really a very small problem. But in the larger scheme of things, when you weigh it against the amount of currency notes in the country, even if it was 20, 50, 100 crores, I don't think it really affects the economy that it was.
See, the point is we've only caught 20 crores. Kitna paisa actually nikal gaya hath se, and kitna system.
So even if I was to raise it by a factor of 5, and go up to 100, it doesn't really affect the functioning of the economy.
No, I'm saying from a terror financing point of view. From a terror financing point of view, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that's doing the rounds here. But Aruna ji, the cost of printing, transporting it via 3 countries and into India, that itself should become make it very dear for. So what's the motivation?
Definitely, you have said it right, because the cost of printing and transporting is huge, and that's has to be a demotivating factor. But as Mr. Azad very rightly said, that if it is, and what has been said by Mr. Sareen also, that it is an attack on the country currency, and therefore you are getting this counterfeit at such large numbers. Counterfeit will keep on happening always. But then these large numbers are coming and being dumped in India and it's circulated in India. It is a point of concern. It's a point of great concern, and the percentage is increasing for higher denominations. Year to year, if you look at it, the more percentage are getting detected. So it has already reached for 500 rupee note 101%. So that is a matter of worry. And yes, you have to have much more security measures into whatever you are printing on date, because it looks like it has been cracked and people are able to print. And when you want to hit a country and its economy by dumping in these kind of notes and create a disturbance into the faith in the currency of a particular country, then money doesn't matter how much you spend in transporting or printing. It's an entirely different object.
So the motivation is not cost or profit, it's about hurting the other nation. So you are able to, you're willing to bear the burden even if it is perhaps cost heavy for you, and you're losing money trying to counterfeit money. But is that the only solution, Yashwardhan Azadji, that you reduce the denomination, 500 bhi hata do? 200 tak seemit karo, or is the other action is that you make these notes plastic notes, like Sushant Sareen was suggesting?
I totally agree with Mr. Sareen on that particular point. You see, ideally the situation should be that you should have only $100, 100 rupee notes. But look at our real estate issues. Look at the kind of black money which floats even otherwise. So all this, floats and it's all mixed up. There's a very good point which has been made by Mr. Sareen. First is the size of the FIC. Now, let that be, estimated. Security agencies only give us the capture. Arunaji is talking that the percentage is increasing. Yeah. But for actual terror financing, which we are concerned about, requires a small amount. In all our experience that we have seen is, the operators who are coming in, they don't need to come with huge amount. And some of them, the operations which have been carried out with various terrorist groups, they were given with limited amount and a fixed amount for these operations. So the 20 crores itself is a very huge amount. So what do we do about it? One is, of course, we go in for digital payment. There is no doubt about it. The other is we have to also set in a few markers, whether we look at real estate, where all the money is parked of this kind, all the terror financing which goes from various quarters, and all these lines, for example, through whether it's through Jharkhand, whether it's the the border, and because this money will keep coming in, and again these are the same 2 borders we have to look at, the Nepal border, and it is also the Dhaka border.
But there have been some markers put up after that bilateral between the Indian and our Prime Minister and of course the Nepal Prime Minister, who is in Delhi today, saying some more security checks and posts would be there, greater cooperation would be there. And there has been a meeting on the sidelines also with Dr. Jaishankar and Ajit Doval present. So is that all in this direction of trying to plug those holes, plug those roots which are being used by these nefarious elements? We'll have to wait and watch. Arunaji, Yashwardhanji and Sushant Sareen, thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen,